Welcome to our YouTube channel dedicated to exploring the latest insights and opportunities in the world of finance and investments, with a special focus on currency revaluation, gold and silver investments, cryptocurrency, and make money online opportunities, and more. If you're interested in staying up to date on the latest developments in currency revaluation, particularly the Iraqi dinar and other currencies, best to subscribe to this channel. Please note that the content on this YouTube channel is for informational purposes only and should not be considered financial advice. We are not licensed financial advisors, and the opinions expressed on this channel are based on our own research and personal experience. We strongly recommend that you do your own research and consult with a licensed financial advisor. Also, just before we go any further, this channel has a weekly giveaway of 100 Dogecoin. To enter, all you have to do is be subscribed to this channel, like this video, and watch this video until the end, because if you don't, you will be automatically disqualified from the giveaway. We will be sharing the random hashtag keyword daily somewhere in the video, and then comment hashtag the keyword with no spaces in between in the comment section. Good luck! Now let's proceed with the latest Iraqi dinar news and intel today. Please take these pieces of information with a grain of salt, and please make sure to do your own due diligence. I know what you're thinking. We've heard all this before. Same headlines, same speculation. But what if I told you this time it's different? And no, I don't mean hype. I mean something's actually shifting behind the curtain. And if you're not paying attention, you're going to miss it. There are signs. Big ones, showing up in places most people aren't even looking. I'm talking about global financial powerhouses getting involved, cash pipelines being squeezed shut, contractors forced into new currency practices, and phrases like conversion phase showing up in official IMF-style language. And no, I'm not giving it all away here. If you're serious about understanding what's coming, not just the what, but the why behind it all, then you need to see this full breakdown. Because at the end of the video, I'm giving you my own full take. And let's just say this isn't heading toward business as usual. Let's get into the updates. From Newshound Guru Sandy Ingram, why BlackRock will help Iraq to readjust the IQD currency. You want to understand the international financial connections and how Iraq fits into the picture. Highly intelligent people in Washington, D.C. are discussing this subject. Why? Because BlackRock is worth $11 trillion. Iraq is of particular interest because it sits on one of the world's largest oil reserves and is in the early stages of rebuilding its economy, banking systems, and infrastructure. A currency revaluation would signal increased economic stability and could open Iraq to more international investment. BlackRock may view such a revaluation as a step toward making Iraq more attractive for long-term investment. BlackRock has shifted more of its strategy towards emerging markets and warned about the risks of United States dollar overdependence. BlackRock's support of Iraq would lend credibility and possibly encourage other large institutional investors to follow. From Newshound Guru Samson, article, Al-Sudani decides to fund the salaries of employees in the region for the month of May. Article, Erbil transfers 120 billion dinars of non-oil revenues to Baghdad. From Newshound Intel Guru FNU LNU, article, a new report from the International Monetary Fund, IMF, has said that the restructuring of state-owned banks, SOBs, can foster the development of the private sector and improve growth. Much of the banking reform is still on the drawing board. All the IMF reports say that revaluation is 1 to 2 years away. From Newshound Guru Claire, article, private sources confirm that the United States has decided to completely halt cash dollar shipments to Iraq, a move described as potentially the beginning of a financial blockade on some Iraqi banks involved in currency smuggling and money laundering. Remarkably, the U.S. decision coincided with a significant decline in the dollar exchange rate in the Iraqi market. Experts interpreted this as a natural consequence of the restrictions on the circulation of cash and the prevention of its smuggling abroad. This led to an increase in supply in the local market and a temporary decline in its price. From Newshound, Intel Guru Mountain Goat, Article: The U.S. has stopped sending cash dollars to Iraq. Is this the beginning of a blockade? Quote: The United States has decided to completely halt cash dollar shipments to Iraq. The operative word is completely, not just to some banks. This will force getting off the sole peg to the U.S. dollar. They desperately need to get off this peg and to a basket of currencies the IMF already has lined up to use. The U.S. has blocked dollars before, but this time to every bank in Iraq and Iraq as a whole. I look at this as the final nail in the coffin for the parallel market. We should see the Iraq dinar rise to very close to 1,100 very soon. We would like to see a target of 1,000. From Newshound Guru Claire. Article quote: Majar Mohammed Salah. The fact that the difference between the official and parallel rates is approaching less than 4% indicates that we have entered the convergence phase, as this difference represents only the cost of transactions. From Newshound Intel Guru Walkingstick. The ban on dealing with dollar inside of Iraq. That's why the value has been increasing. Everyone inside of Iraq, all these contractors, everyone is going to use the IQD. They're about to use it on a different level. The statement that everyone inside of Iraq is about to use the IQD, that's the big one. That's what's going to boost the value of the Iraqi dinar. That's what's going to give them purchasing power. But above all things, that's what's going to give Iraqi citizens confidence in their new national currency, the IQD. From Newshound Guru Militia Man. How is it that 1310 is based off non-oil revenues, oil revenues, all the taxes and tariffs, liquid natural gas? $16 trillion worth of revenue supports 1310? Does that make any sense to you? It really doesn't. From Newshound Guru Militia Man. All of this activity and progress is extremely telling. It's very telling to see how far along they are. Obviously, the ultimate question is going to be, what's the date and what's the rate? That's not on me. I'm just going to bring you guys the news. From Intel Guru Frank26. The financial advisors Salah have told the Iraqi citizens the difference between the official rate of our currency and the parallel rate is now approaching less than 4%, and that indicates you've entered the conversion phase. Do you realize how close we are to what they want to accomplish? This is monstrous. This is phenomenal what we are witnessing. From Intel Guru Frank26, they're protecting the new exchange rate in 12.2c. If all of this was being done at 1310, you wouldn't have any of the secrecy. You wouldn't have Parliament complaining about the secrecy. Before ending with the last updates, the hashtag keyword for the 100 Dogecoin giveaway is credibility. Comment below if you think we are close to the revaluation or the reinstatement of the dinar. You can be the lucky winner if you like, subscribe, and watch the main content of this video. This will be for this coming Sunday's giveaway, and the winner will be announced in one of the Sunday's videos, so you do not want to miss it. From Intel Guru Frank26. These rate articles have me so excited because now it's becoming a chronic daily event to see the American dollar melting away inside of Iraq to the point of reaching the official exchange rate. In my opinion, that official rate is not 1310, it's 1-to-1. From Intel Newshound Guru Marks via PDK. I think July is still very much still in play. It really does feel like it did days before the Kuwaiti revaluation. And finally, the last update is from Intel/Newshound Guru Mark Z via PDK. I do think we are almost at the end. Although no one knows the exact timing, events point as this being very close. Alright family, let's break this all down. We've gone through the updates. Now here's my personal take. And buckle up, because a lot of this is starting to get really interesting. So let's talk. There's this buzz happening. And it's not just from the usual guru chatter. We're talking about real movement on the ground, on paper, and at the international level. If you've been paying attention, it feels like Iraq is inching closer and closer to something major. And I'm not just saying that to hype it up. Let's start with what Mountain Goat and Claire highlighted, and it's a bombshell if you ask me. The United States has halted cash dollar shipments to Iraq. Let that sink in. That's not just speculation, that's confirmed by major outlets. Shafaq News, Asharq al-Assad, Reuters. Now, is it a full-on blockade? No, but the faucet is being turned down, hard. Specific banks in Iraq are being cut off, especially those suspected of funneling dollars into Iran or shady networks. And this move? It's putting Iraq in a corner. They're being forced to ditch the crutch and rely more on the dinar. And that right there, that's the kind of real-world shift that leads to monetary sovereignty. That's not a rumor. That's cause and effect in action. Now let's bring in Frank26 and what he's been tracking. Iraq's financial advisor, Dr. Mazar Saleh, just said the difference between the official and the street rate is now less than 4%. If you know anything about the IMF playbook, that's a huge threshold. The IMF requires that spread to be within 2 to 3% for a country to qualify for currency transparency and Article Aid compliance. In other words, Iraq is on the brink of meeting the global standard for international rate movement. They're not just stabilizing, they're aligning for something bigger. And if they hit that magic number, that's when we could see the floodgates open for the dinar to go global again. Then there's Walkingstick's update, and I have to say, this one's flying under the radar, but it might be the biggest of all. He says everyone inside Iraq is about to use the IQD. That's the big one. And he's right. That's the moment the game changes. When contractors, companies, and citizens stop touching the dollar and move fully to dinar-only transactions, that's when you have full monetary control and you're no longer dancing between two currencies. That means demand for the IQD spikes. That means people start trusting it again. That means purchasing power returns, not just symbolically, but tangibly. This isn't just an economic shift, it's a psychological one. And when people believe in their money, value follows. All right, now let's talk about FNU-LNU, because we need to clear this up. He's out here saying, well, the IMF says Iraq's banking reform is still on the drawing board, so we're 1 to 2 years away from an RV. And look, I get the caution, but here's the thing. That timeline, that's not written anywhere in any official IMF report. What the IMF actually said was that restructuring state-owned banks like Rafadain and Rashid is necessary to support private sector growth. True, no debate, but the claim that this pushes the RV out years, that's a reach. The IMF doesn't predict exchange rate timelines. They list benchmarks. And guess what? Iraq is already meeting most of them. Inflation low. Exchange rate stability closing in on that 2-3% window. Foreign reserves strong. De-dollarization moving fast thanks to U.S. pressure and internal bans. Digital reform? Absolutely. Trade systems are upgraded, payment platforms are scaling. Bank reform is still underway, no doubt. But that doesn't mean Iraq has to hit perfection before flipping the switch. They just need functional readiness and trust, and both of those are building rapidly. Plus, let's be honest, Iraq can't afford to wait 1 to 2 more years. The people are growing impatient. Trust in the system is fragile. And the longer they wait, the more they risk undoing everything they've built so far economically and politically. Now here's the wild card, and it might sound out there, but it's worth entertaining. Sandy Ingram made a connection to BlackRock. Yeah, the BlackRock, the one with $11 trillion under management. She's saying that Iraq could be on their radar as an emerging market, especially with all the oil, banking reforms, and digital transformation. And honestly, that's not crazy. BlackRock's been moving away from dollar overdependence, and they're all about long-term emerging market plays. If Iraq revalues the dinar and creates a stable investment climate, that could be a signal to institutional giants. Even if it's not official, just the narrative of Iraq entering that arena is a big credibility booster. So where does that leave us? Here's my final take. In my opinion, we are absolutely within striking distance of an RV or RI. Iraq has laid most of the technical groundwork. They've proven monetary control, made regulatory progress, digitized payments, and de-dollarized like never before. We might not have a public countdown clock, but the signs are flashing. Could we be looking at a reinstatement around $3.22? Possibly, or maybe a managed float with gradual appreciation. Either way, this doesn't feel like we're years out. If this pace holds, we could be seeing movement in the next 6 to 12 months, if not sooner. And now there's this new wave of speculation. Mark Z dropped a rumor about July 28th possibly being a key date. Now look, we all know how these dates can come and go, but here's the thing. With everything happening in real time from the US dollar clampdown to rate convergence to digital readiness, this date isn't completely out of the question. Is it confirmed? No, but is it worth watching? Absolutely. That's my take. Thanks for sticking with me through all of this. We'll keep tracking the signals, separating the hype from the moves that actually matter. Until next time, stay sharp, stay ready, and stay tuned. Furthermore, we posted a breaking analysis the other day. This is breaking news out of Iraq. The country just completed a major step toward full WTO membership, and it's sending shockwaves through the Dinar community. In this video, I dive deep into what this means, how it connects to Articled Aid, currency convertibility, and why this moment could be a key turning point toward the RV or RI. Most people don't realize how significant this move is, but once you connect the dots, the picture becomes crystal clear. I did a full analysis breaking down the implications, the timeline, and whether Iraq could actually pull the trigger soon. Don't miss it. Click the video in the top right to watch now. Lastly, we will continue to post videos about the recent events and articles supporting the changes taking place in Iraq, so you don't want to miss them. Also, don't forget, please drop a comment below with hashtag and the keyword and let us know what you think. If you like this content and like to support this channel, please don't forget to like, subscribe, hit that bell notification so you get notified when new videos are uploaded. See you on the next one.